going, guys, and welcome to another episode of How To. In this episode, we're going to be building a slightly more complicated flyer jet, intermediate level, so something a little more advanced than what we built in the last video. We are going to be incorporating a couple of new concepts, a couple of new control features, and I'll be also showing you again how to use those XOR gates as a secondary control system for flyers. Alright, so let's start again here with our basic cockpit. Again, I have no idea what this is going to end up being. I just know it's going to fly, it's going to be a jet, and you're coming along with me. I'll try and explain everything that I'm doing and why I'm doing it as I go, and hopefully you guys can get some ideas and learn something new, which is always important. Alright, so we're going to start with a basic body here. And so now we basically have to kind of predetermine how big we want this thing to be. So I'm going to start with the wings. So first of all, we're going to go with some control surfaces. I want to make sure I put those on early. Have a wee bit of an idea as far as to how I want to put this together. So if we have that there, now the cockpit's going to be like a main source of weight. And we know our wings are going to be near the back, or the majority of the wings, so we want to try and keep the weight as centered as possible. So I'm going to try and keep these forward. Let's go with some. Let's go with some flats like this. I'm going to angle these. We'll make a bit of a wall out of these. Something like that, out like this, maybe a little further, something like that, and then we've got to connect this. So I'll grab one of these, give it a rotate, drop it down in here. Then we've just got this section here, but that's alright, we'll be switching that out soon, because we've got to put wings in there. Might as well get rid of that right now. We'll put this right in there like that, one of these like this, then we can grab a wing, put it like this, give it a rotate, slap it in like that. Now it's kind of in the frame. Now if we want to go with a wee bit more surface area on that, we can try and drop this back, see if we can find another convenient place for this. So if we bring our wing out one more, can steal these two pieces over here. If we wanted to, we could actually extend this completely out this way. We can put a stabilizer on the end, like that, and we've got a nice wing shape there. Now you just got to hold it all together. We've got this nice diamond triangle shape here, so we'll come down to our big triangle chunks here, and we'll slide it back just one so you can see it's holding the wing on there as well. We'll copy another one of these forward, do the same thing up here. For aerodynamic purposes, we can leave this gap in here because we can always fill that in with a single slope 1x4 like that. I mean, we could, if we wanted to, do the same thing over here. This slot there, there's no piece really that fits in there appropriately, so we can leave that blank for now. Or again, we can always go with a 4x4 slope. Will fit in there, and we'll keep everything aerodynamic, as well as keeping us giving us a nice look as far as hidden wing goes. So what we'll do now is we're going to copy this to this side, just like that. So drag and drop to select what you want to copy, and then always remember to rotate your camera, because it's always going to copy the pieces in the direction towards you. So if I'm facing this way and I copy this cockpit, it copies it towards me. And always be wary of when you're copying something, especially hinges are really bad for it. It'll flip the hinges, so always check the direction of your hinges or any kind of rotating devices after you've copied it over to the other side, because it'll mirror the settings of the hinge as well, or the moving piece. So that's a little heads up there. Alright, so let's check our control surfaces here. So now we have to decide whether these wings are going to be in the back or in the front of the jet. So if we decide to go with, let's say, just as far as placeholders go, if we go with something... I do this a lot, just use pieces as placeholders so that you can visualize how you want to actually build it. So let's try having those at the wings will be at the back. So we can get rid of a couple of these. We need some places to connect some thrusters in the back here. And then we're going to slope this down to the front to try and give us some control out front. So, let's go with this down here. Extend that out a little further as well. We'll bring in a couple of slopes. Like this. Copy these forward. Drop them down here. So now we've got aerodynamics there. We should have something in here to protect against the red arrows of doom, also known as drag. So we'll put a couple of these in there, that way we know that our wing's not going to stick to them, because we have no connection points on the tops, and it will also eliminate any drag created by this gap where our servos are. So we'll select these, copy them over to the other side, bada boom. Okay, we're starting to get some shape here. We still have no thrust, so like I said, let's set our control surfaces here. Red is going to tip our wings up, which is going to drive the nose down. So red is going to be down, green is going to be up. We want to set our speed, of course, nice and slow, 0.1 to start with. We can always speed that up. 45 seems a little intense. We'll set that to 30. We don't need anything to hold position, no timing on those, so we'll set the same thing over here. 0.1 at 30 degrees. And we know green is going to make us go down. Red will make us go up. Alright, so let's test those controls. As you can see, we've got a pretty sleek looking jet here so far. So test your controls. Same there, same there. Alright. So let's add some thrusters. So we don't have a lot of room in here to put any major thrusters, so we'll try first with a couple of dragon thrusters on this extension that we've left out. And again, we want to be checking this way to make sure that we're not too low or too high above our center of gravity. So let's start with 2. We'll leave the control at those on space, and obviously we're going to need some vertical stabilization here, so we're just going to pop a couple of these right up here on the back. Now the odds of this flying are pretty slim because we only have one set of wings. Let's hope that it's small enough that we have enough wing surface that we can actually keep to the air a bit. We'll probably need something out front. So let's check it out, see if we even have enough thrust to keep us in the air. We do, but like I said, we have very little control. Yeah, definitely not enough thrust. Let's go back and add some thrust, shall we? Right, so now we start looking for other areas. Seem to be pretty evenly placed the thrust there, so we could actually just copy these straight out. And we need some horizontal control up here in the front. So let's just try with a couple of simple stabilizers first. See if that gives us enough control out front. Spin this around. Let's have a go, shall we? Spacebar. Oh, yeah, of course. Of course it wants to jump. The ass end wants to drop straight down. That's where all the weight is. Yeah. Alright, so in a situation like this, one of our options, one of the easiest options, simply going to be to move our cockpit. So we've got lots of weight there. Let's put the cockpit right up here. So we'll simply slide that forward. I'm actually going to drop that down. We'll replace this with these blocks. Bang, bang, she-bang. A couple of the old deuces here. Oh, come on. Down, down. Copy. Alright, so a couple like that. Now we're probably going to have to end up adding some control to these little canards out front here, just so we have some steering. So we're going to copy these slopes down here. Give them a spin. And then we're going to spin around to the front, copy them around here out to the front. So now we got a bit of a gooseneck drop there on the jet. Let's see how that flies. If it flies. Let's hope it flies. Here we go. Oh. Still wants to drop. Okay. Alright, so if the SN still wants to keep dropping like that, I'm going to see that as a too much weight in the back, man. So let's grab one of these thrusters that we have here and move it up here along the body. We're going to spin it so it looks a little more ergonomic. I'm going to put that right there. We're just going to copy this one over to that side and delete this one. Ta-da! See how easy it is? And that's going to give us a little more lift under the front there. So let's give that a go. Let's see how that flies. Let's go off the edge here. Okay, it's helping for weight-wise. As you can see, we didn't the back end didn't drop out right away, so that's good. But we still have very minimal control. Come on, I have nothing for roll. Vertical stabilization isn't working very well. Okay, so I'm gonna say we're gonna need, for one, we're gonna need to slow our roll on them wings, because that's just moving far too much. So we can select them both and actually change our angle down here. I'm gonna change that right down to 15. Hopefully that'll help with that. And then now up here at the front, let's go ahead and add a single wing piece underneath here. Copy it over to this side. And now we could actually add this out like this. Copy it to that side. Or we can remove these ones. Keep that just like that. So let's have a go with that. See how that flies. Should give us a little more stability in the front, a little more lift as well. So we don't have any roll, but we do have lift, we have pitch. Again, doesn't want to fly totally straight. As you can see, he wants to bob up and down. Bobbing up and down, buddy. Good bobbing. And we're going to crash into something here, I imagine. Wow, okay. Alright, back to the spawn point. Okay, so a little more stability built into that. Back into build mode. Let's give ourselves a little bit more control in the front here. Now, with the way this is set up, again, you always want to try and think about this in advance as well. We could select this whole front section here and put it on a couple of hinges so the whole front tips up and down slightly. That would give us good control that way. We could also put a servo in there to turn the whole front end with our hinges on there as well to give us a fully controllable, maneuverable front end that would give us our steering. So just for a quick, let's just add that in. We'll just do that. We'll throw a servo in there to rotate the front. We'll set that. Red is going to be to the right. We'll set the speed to slow, so 0.1. Our angle, we'll set that to like 30. Don't need to hold position. Let's build that in. Let's give that a go. fly. As we can see, the front end tips, but because there's no, it gives us a little bit of roll, but there's no angle on either of those, so it's basically just at trying to fly like two different planes on two different planes. You know what I mean? Back to the spawn point. We can also try if we want. Okay, so let's get rid of that. We're going to move that back into place, because we're going to try using a couple of hinges to control these front wings here. So we're going to pop this out by one, and along the body here we're going to grab a small 1x2 slope. We're going to spin it this way so it's facing forward. Might as well move this one out so we can copy our pieces as we're building. So we'll copy one of these out like this. Now we'll grab a small slope, or a small hinge, sorry. We want to put it on that. We want this going up and down. So I'm going to use green as up, so that means that we want it to move the wings down. I'll copy it around over to this side. Now you see, notice it didn't rotate the position of the hinge. But if I were to copy it across this way, see, now the green is up, whereas the green was down on this side. So if you're copying across a connection point, it'll want to revert and switch the hinge over. So now that we've got those hinges there, now again we need to connect them to these wings. So we're just going to copy this small 2x1 slope on this side, and then we're going to rotate it so that the angle is facing, that the connection points are facing towards the wings. And see, because we're limited here, we can't move our wing back. Well, we can, but it'll end up in contact with this thruster. So wings work facing forwards or backwards. So we can simply rotate that wing to face forwards, and we have our connection points on that 2x1 slope, which is now connected to our hinge, which we can set to whatever we want. So I'm going to set green. We know green is going to be up, up and down, and again, speed as slow as possible. If I could get them any slower, I would, but... And angle, this is only going to be like a 10-degree angle, because this is actually going to be right at the front. It's going to catch a lot of air, and it's going to move us very quickly. Alright, let's give that a test. Load it in. Yeah, see, those front wings are a little slower than the back ones, but that's alright. So, let's spin us around here. Hit the skies and see how it goes. Oh, we definitely have a little more control now. Still don't have any roll. As you can see, at least it wants to fly straight now. Still got a little bit of weight issues in the back. We'll put that mountain there. Damn it. Gosh darn it. Alright. So, let's take a look at what we got. So another thing that could be causing an issue is that our back wings are on this plane and our front wings are on a separate plane. On a plane lower, a block lower. So let's try moving all of this up. See if that gives us a little more stability. Yep, we can move that back even, and we can move this back one. Alright, so we'll move these up. Bang, bang, bang. Move them up to there, and let's have a test of that. Still wants to nose up. That could be a thrust issue. So maybe we'll move those thrusters that we have in the front here. Move those up one. See if that holds us a little leveler. Okay, so we definitely need some roll in here, some turning. Just end up doing loops over and over until I fly into a mountain. So it still wants to drop down. The ascent still wants to drop down. So, let's see what else we can do. So, we can start by removing weight. Move a couple of those, not necessary. Those are actually holding wings in place. Let's try, because we have the nose drop down. Let me try flipping these upside down. Dropping them right down to the back. Then I'm going to add a wee bit more stability back here, so as it doesn't want to drop. And then if we eventually need to, which I might just do right now, if we can, will it let us? No. Okay, there's going to be a gap there, but we're right against the wing, so we'll see if that causes us any problems. We'll copy that to that side. Gives ourselves a wee bit more thrust. Again, it adds more weight to the back end, but we'll see if that is countered by our forward thrust. Alright, we definitely need some controls here. Seat controls are not working. Maybe we just got too much lift from those wings in the front. Let's go back to the spawn point, try removing those actual front wings. Keep the control surfaces on our stabilizers, but actually remove the wings themselves. Let's see if just these by themselves end up giving us enough lift without too much lift. So there's back as far as I can go. So let's see how that works. So the nose doesn't want to jump up anymore. So that removed our problem there. But as soon as we do go to swerve up, it just jumps up instantly. At least it flies a little straighter. Still need some roll in there. This is just frustrating as hell, not being able to roll. Come on. Not a lot in the seat. So we've got 300, 400 kilometers an hour. It's not too bad. Let's go back and see if we can take care of some more of these problems. So that extra thrust seemed to have helped out. Keeps a little more, keeps the front end a little more stable. So now we don't have all that lift either. We had too much lift. So maybe a couple of small stabilizers here to keep the front end. We've got a couple connection points right here. Drop a couple on there. And we can, if we also choose to, move the connection point for our wings back a bit. And our drag removers. Just so that our wing is tipping a little more evenly rather than tipping the whole back end. I think that's one of the reasons why the nose jumps up so quick. Alright, so now we've got that like that. Got that in place there. Okay, let's see if those small stabilizers helped any more in the front. Oh, we can definitely fly straight now. Doesn't jerk up as quick as before, which is a little better. We still need some roll. I think my wings are actually getting caught on those thrusters on the back. So let's see how we can take care of that problem. So I think we're getting contact here. So let me also, we know that thrust is working at that level. But if we move it back, we don't have any connection points because these ones here are in the way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some slopes like this to the old back side. Aye. Now we can move these back and connect them on there, making the connection point where there are none. And now we've got a nice flat spot back here where if we wanted to, we could either put another thruster, or we could copy these back and drop them down like that for even more stabilization back there. Right, we could as well at some point. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We could put another couple of wings back here that don't actually move. And that's going to give us a lot more stability. Watch this. Watch this. It's like magic. Just like magic. So now we got no more herky-jerky. We still have no steering. Whoa, ow, ow, ow. Oh, God, they're going to take that off my check. Alright, back to the carrier. Hey guys, can I get a jet that's got some steering in it? You know, turning left, turning right, all that fun stuff. I know it may not sound exciting to you, but I kind of like it. Alright, so right now we've got controls set up here. So we're going to actually use these big surfaces area here, these big wings in the back, to do our steering. So we're going to need a couple of XOR gates. So we're going to try and put these somewhere where we can easily cover up the drag. So we can kind of pull a couple of slope pieces in front here. So let's put one like this. And one over here. Like that. So this one will be for this servo here. So this servo already has S and W controls on it. So the actual XOR gate we are going to set up connected to that. And down here in the config for the XOR gate, we want the green. So if we're going to be rotating, rotate down, that means we're going to be turning right. So that means green is going to take us to the right. Red is going to take us to the left. And the output here on your XOR gate is going to control how much output actually goes to that controller. So if the controller is set to 1 and you set the output here to 0.5, it's actually only going to rotate this 0.5 rather than the entire thing. We'll see it. We'll leave it set to 1 and see if that's going to work, or if it's going to be too much. We'll have to change the setting on that. So same thing on this one. Select this XOR gate. Go to config. Select there while the XOR gate is still connected. Check our arrows here. So green is going to be, red is to the left. Red is to the left, green is to the right. Output, we're going to leave it 1. So now we come down here, going to build it in and jump in and have a test. Push left and right. And now we have our tilt in there as well as our lift. So we got some roll. So let's see if that's going to be too much roll, or if it's just going to be just enough. Yeah, that's actually not bad. It's very jet-like. It's a little bit fast, but hey, that works. I'd rather have it too fast than too slow. Yeah, that is a bit much. It's a wee bit much. Okay. Let's go and set those So now we don't need to change any of the settings on the actual servo itself. We can just change the setting for our rotating here on the XOR gate. We'll change the output to 0.5. And we might as well do the same thing on the other one. It'll feel left out. 0.5. Not to mention we'll be flying like a madman. Alright, let's check it out. Make sure we're on a roll. Let's see how this works. Much better, a little smoother. Not so extreme. Can actually fly the jet. So again, if you wanted to get super spin, you could again set those XOR gates to also set on those hinges in the proper direction in the front, and you'd actually get them spinning as well when you turn to go to roll. So we don't have anything as far as yaw. I normally a lot of the times don't use yaw because I can just pitch to the side and ouch, and then smash right into the deck like that. That's what I want to do. If I want yaw, I just crash and say, oh no. So yaw I rarely use. I just pitch to the side like I said and then rotate that way. So let's actually let's check our front hinges here. They're at 10 degrees. Let's actually set that to the smallest it can go, just so we have micro adjustments up there up front. And just for shits and giggles, let's copy these down and move them ahead like that, so we have a much cooler looking front end. And that's right, we were going to put some slopes up here to counter the drag created by these XOR gates. Spin, spin, spin. Copy. That's okay like that. So if you wanted to, you could actually copy these to the other side, but the back side doesn't make any difference. But if you want it to look better, we can do it like that. So let's try and fly this puppy now. Okay, as you can see now we're getting lots of lift on the front end again. Like that's those extra stabilizers that we put on the front. Believe it or not, causing instability, those stabilizers there. Alright, spawn point. Okay, so we're going to get rid of these because they're not doing us any good. Alright, as far as underneath here, we might need something as well along the body. So we'll grab another couple of these just to give us a little more aerodynamics in front of our engines that are sticking out below the body. We're still going to get some drag from there. We could go a little heavier. We could. It's getting kind of heavy. And we do have a bit of drag from there. Don't forget, you can always check your aerodynamics tab. Make sure you have nothing selected. And you're looking for red arrows that are going to show you that you're making drag, man. You're dragging me down, Holmes. These ones back here are a little dark. That sucks. These ones in front here are a little dark. And that sucks as well. But you know what? There's just some things that suck you can't do much about. Let's get rid of all them little arrows. So if we also needed more lift at any point in time, we could also copy this wing up. Oh, it's upside down. See that? Don't forget to check your wings before you go, folks. And we can actually spin this one around too. Drop it right down in there. It'll be connected back here rather than being connected up here. Let's try that. So much trial and error. I do so much experimentation. Okay, it wants to nose down now because we got a lot of lift in the back. those extra wings. And I don't know if it's better to nose up or to nose down. I prefer to try and stay level, try and make it so it flies kind of level. Okay, so those wings on the back gotta come off. Bada boom. We could actually put more vertical stabilizers in there as well. 6 kilos in weight, though. Do we want any more weight on the back? So these ones are actually 2.5 kilos. So let's bring these back. Bring it on back now. So we'll bring these back here because that slope might actually give us a little more speed, and it might help us balance out a little bit more. So everything seems to be doing pretty well that way. Let's try to... And nose still wants to come down a wee bit. So let's try. It still wants to swerve all over the place too. I don't like the way it's doing that. Maybe our extra fins back here aren't doing us any good. And maybe these ones could drop back like that. That's going to make us a wee bit slicker. Maybe a wee bit faster. But I'm looking for stability. You know, like most of us in real life. So what I might try is maybe putting a wing under here. Like that. See if that adds a wee bit more stability on the belly. I want the front to go up a wee bit more, not too much. Okay, it's not too bad. Again, just want to try and find some way to keep that front end up just a bit so you can stay nice and level. Alright, let's solve this problem, shall we, lads? So we need the front to stay up a wee bit, eh? What if... So I'm not sure if this is actually doing any good. What if we drop these down again? To give us just a wee bit more thrust from below the center of gravity. Let's try it. It might not work, but it might. You never know. Till you try it. It's not bad. It's not bad. We got a wee bit more lift in the front. A wee bit less urge to go down. It's not a bad arc though. We could deal with that. It's pretty touchy on the controls. Sometimes that's what you need for a very agile flyer. Woo! That's twice now. Almost smashed into that post. It's like a magnet. Ah, not quite. Alright, I got a couple more ideas to try here. What if I'd like to put a couple more of these out on the wings. Like that. And like that. Don't like the drag from this though. Oh well. You cannot have everything you want in life, can you? Alright, build it. Alright, let's fly it. Now we could have guessed as well. Something I haven't even thought of yet. You could just add more thrusters under the wings. Moving the center of gravity. Oh, hey, what are you doing? Left shift and Z is also your undo. Right, so if you move something like this, left shift and Z, undo. So let's copy this one out like this. Move it way up here under the wing. Not only will that give us more upwards thrust, but it'll give us more speed. And that's never a bad thing, is it? Alright, let's try that. If you wanted to, you could put a whole bunch of them under there. I'm not sure if you'd be able to fly straight. Ah! I knew it. I knew it. They're like I think they're magnetic. I think they pull you in towards them. That's why they're all nice, pretty colors. Look at me. I'm not dangerous. I'm just made of concrete. Yeah, that's not too bad at all. A little bit down on the front there, so what I would actually do is move those thrusters back a couple of squares if possible. So move the weight back a little bit as well as the thrust. Let's see. Yeah, that's a little better. Definitely a little better. So, you need just a wee bit more push from the belly. So you know it pushes good from the belly. More thrusters! Aye, lad. So, we'll keep this one back here as well. Just a wee bit more. Let's try that. That's why I usually always start with the minimum amount of thrusters, because you're going to end up adding them anyways. So as we can see now, oh, so close. So close to just wanting to stay straight. But I would consider that a working jet. And you could add a couple of more rudders, a little more stability. But the balance is basically there. It's definitely flyable. Ah! It's not a very good boat, though. Alright, well, I hope that helped you guys out. A couple of new ideas there, using the hinges as steering, as well as using those rotors, those servos. Using the XOR gates to set your controls for roll, whereas they're already set for your pitch. And basics of stabilization and where you're going to place your weight and your thrusters as you're building. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you enjoyed it, leave a comment, and we will see you guys in the next one. Ciao.